All right, what is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday today. Whatever day you're watching it, I hope you are excited because we have a good one today. We have a little spotlight here on Miss Catherine Potts here, and she's going to tell her story about how like she's made a huge transformation, and not just physically, but like really emotionally and mentally. And as she says, like she's a little uncomfortable to do this, and I said good, right? Because like getting uncomfortable is how we grow, how we make changes. And so I'm excited for you guys to share. I'm excited to for you guys to hear her story. But before we dive in here, like if you're new here, you don't know who I am. Like my name is Logan Manzanares. I'm a business owner, fitness professional. I've transformed well over 2,000 people's lives now through this little thing we call health and fitness. I'm also a real estate investor, a husband, a father, and one of the most critical people on this planet. And like today, I'm excited because we have Catherine on here. She's going to share her story and share kind of her experiences and her thoughts with you guys. And like she has got a great story. So get the popcorn, get the calorie-free popcorn, get the sugar-free iced tea ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Let's dive in here. So, Catherine, if you don't mind, give us a little backstory of kind of who you are and kind of like how your journey started here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Catherine. Super excited to be here, even if I am nervous. And let's see, I'm 38 years old. I am a software developer, and I'm also in school right now at Montana State University, finishing up a degree there. And I started with BSB. Actually, it wasn't totally by accident, but I wasn't looking for anything at the moment. I think Katie slid into my DMs on Instagram, and we started chatting a little bit about stuff. And like it came at a time in my life where I was like trying to actively manage depression and anxiety and all sorts of other things that were coming up and during the pandemic and everything. And I was like, I haven't spent time focusing on my health and my fitness level in a really long time. So I was kind of into it. And then like I started talking to Tim. And by the way, like at this point, I didn't even know what the gym's name was. So I started talking to Tim and asking all these questions. He was asking me questions. And then I talked to Logan and got started. And like, I don't know, it's just been a roller coaster ever since. Like a good roller coaster, but a roller coaster ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so yeah, so kind of tell me a little bit about your history and
Yeah.
kind of like you said you hadn't been focused on yourself for a while. So kind of tell me like what were maybe like just a little backwards, like what are the things that you tried some of your goals, kind of where you were when you up until that point where Katie slid into those DMs.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so
Yeah, go
I
for
have
it.
a long story, so I'm gonna go back a little bit a ways because like I've never been a slender person. As far as I can remember, I've always been what somebody would at the best consider chubby. So I was overweight as a kid. When I got into junior high, I was wearing like a size 18, um, size 18 jeans, which is pretty big for a junior high kid.
Mhm.
Um, I was playing sports and stuff, but I was still like overweight. And so it wasn't a comfortable thing for me to do to play sports. It didn't feel good. When I got into high school, about my junior year in high school, I stopped playing sports and was battling all sorts of self-confidence issues. I had been bullied, I'd been teased, like all sorts of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, had really terrible eating habits. Like I would eat a whole pint of Ben and Jerry's just as like an after school snack. And I was like, that's just what I did.
Yeah.
Um, so in high school, I don't know the exact numbers of how much I weighed, but I was pretty big. I think I was wearing a size 26 when I graduated high school. And after high school, I married the person I was dating, like immediately after high school. And I started to lose weight, which sounds like a good thing. But I started to lose weight because it was a really bad relationship. And he was controlling my food and doing a lot of body shaming and a lot of fat shaming. And I already had depression and super
Mhm.
low opinions of myself at that time. and so it just turned into this like huge cycle, and I lost a ton of weight. I got down to a size 14 from a 26. And a lot of other like abusive behaviors were popping up in that relationship. Eventually, I was able to pull myself out of it, which was amazing that I was able to do that, because I don't, you know, a lot of things happened, and it was not a good place for any person to be in, let alone a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I realized I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't listen to the music I like to listen to. I hadn't talked to my friends in years. I lost relationships with people in my family. I didn't know how to feed myself. Like, it was wild. Like, I was, when I say, like, sometimes I'll say, you know, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Like, I mean bottom. I had to pull myself back up from nothing.
Yeah.
But I did it.
When did that relationship start, and when did it end? Like, how old were you?
I was 17 when we started dating. We were married by 18. We were separated by 24, and the divorce took a year. So, and from that point on, I haven't had any contact with them, and I got myself to a very safe place, which is good. And to the point where I can actually say that this has happened to me, which is also really good. Because for a really long time, like, it was just easier to ignore it and just like focus on like, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm just going to like have time to be me. And I'm just going to ignore this side, this trauma that I've experienced as a young person. But through therapy and all sorts of things, like, I've gotten slowly better, more confident in myself. I've tried things I never thought I would try. But health and fitness has not ever kind of like been a focus. So like slowly, I started to like gain the weight back. And I would do things like, because I'd known, okay, I could lose this weight. I've done Weight Watchers. I've done Whole30. I did P90. I did, you know, just going to the gym on my own and stepping on a cardio machine for an hour, like all sorts of those sorts of things. And I would lose weight, but it wouldn't ever really stick. I started hiking, which I love and has been amazing. Super confidence booster to like climb up to a top of a trail that you've never done before, and you're just like sitting at the top looking down, and just like so amazing. So I've been doing that for over 10 years now, and it's gotten more serious. And I've been, the last few years, I was like, man, if I was just 10 pounds lighter, like how much easier would it be to get my butt up this trail, you know? And I would say that like almost every single time. And then when the pandemic hit, it like just kind of, I started to gain weight even faster. So in January of this year, I was about 265. And then when I started the program in March, I was 263. So I'd lost 2 pounds. So that was good. But I knew I wanted to hit this summer hard, and do some big stuff on trail. So I was, when I heard about your program, I was like, okay, I can lose those 10 pounds that I've been saying I want to lose. Like, I can do it, you know, I'm going to have help, which is going to be awesome. And I've lost those 10 pounds. I lost those 10 pounds a long time ago. And I just kept on going.
Do you remember the phone? Do you remember the phone call? I remember this, right? And so you told me your goals. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I remember because I wasn't weight loss focused. Yeah. So on my side, I was like, you know, I want to climb I'm going to do a 15-mile hike. I want to climb a big mountain this year, you know, and that was my goal. It's still my goal. I want to still do that. And then I had been, sorry, my dogs are whining in the background. I had talked to Tim, and Tim was like, well, how much weight do you want to lose? And I was like, well, I mean, it'd be cool if I lost 20 pounds. Like, that'd be cool. Like, I'd be happy with that. That's good. That's good for me. It's good. And he was like 20 to 40 pounds. And I was like, well, I didn't say 40, but I'll go with it. And then when I was talking to you, I said, you said, your goal is 40 pounds. And I said, well, I said my goal is 20 pounds. And then you push me even further. So yeah, so my goal now is to get under 200 pounds, which is pretty exciting, actually. Like, I'm glad I set that goal, even if I had to be pushed into it, because like that would mean I'm like, that's like definitely the lowest I've ever weighed as an adult. So that would be like, it's a little scary because, I've never been that weight. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but, I don't know. I'm here for it.
Yeah. I think it's important. Like, I'll just tell you the reason why I push you, because oh, I want to lose 10, 20 pounds. And I just even by saying you're not excited about it. Like, it doesn't excite you. As soon as I said 50 pounds, right? You're like, oh, you're like, I can't do that. You're like, yeah, it scares you, right? But that emotion, we think of it as fear, but we can also turn to what you just did. You turn to excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a key thing that you've actually done a great job of. You let the fear excite you rather than to paralyze you. And that's like your personality. Obviously, anyone who's listening to this or watching this, they'll see you just have an awesome personality, like these little giggles, it's so good. And you have to like that nervous giggle, you turn into excitement rather than it's like, yeah. And
yeah,
it's your superpower. And so I'm not sure if you can recognize that, but I see it from a mile away. That's the thing I want you to focus on, is continue to focus on that, because your superpower is to turn that feeling from fear into excitement. And you're right, and it's the thing that will continue to guide you down this path, right?
Yeah, totally.
Let's hold off on your goals, because I know you made some really cool progress. But I actually want to talk a little bit about kind of your introduction into the program. So when you first started, were you it didn't sound like you were actually doing much as far as really focusing on health and fitness, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I would, go on walks. We have an exercise bike. I would get on that, but it was nothing intentional, I'd say. Yeah.
And so again, we'll talk about your goals here or your progress here in a second, because you've done some really cool things, but I also want to hear some about your ups and downs. What were some of the hardest things, like some of the transition you had to make? Obviously, this is not it's not an easy process. It's not just oh yeah, I wake up a different person. What were actually some of your obstacles that you had to face, in this transition to actually put health and fitness on the map?
Yeah, totally. So there were definitely a lot of things. I would say that first week wasn't super easy, but I was really excited about getting workouts from someone. So I just kind of dove straight in. I think the first day that we talked, I did one of them, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing it, and just excited to be a part of it, and but that first week, right, there were so many things that I had to keep track of, things on an app. I had to keep, I had to make sure I was doing my workouts. I was changing the way I was eating, making sure that I had enough food that I could eat in the house, all those sorts of things. And it could have definitely been very overwhelming. But one of the things that I did right during that first week was I made myself a couple of promises. One was I was going to do everything you guys told me to do. And I've done everything you've told me to do. Number two is I was going to have a good attitude during it, because it was, especially that first week, would have been really easy to just been oh, I have to change what I'm eating. This is no fun. I have to do these workouts. So I'm tired, all that sort of stuff. But if 12 weeks is a long time to have a really bad attitude, and I didn't want to be miserable for 12 weeks. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to find something good about every single little thing that I'm doing. And I'm just going to focus on the something good, even if it's just that hey, I bought strawberries today and I'm going to eat some strawberries. That's awesome. That's my good thing. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so kind of segue that, because obviously
Yeah.
you made that decision even before you joined the program, but what, as you're in the program, what are some of the, like, the first thing that comes to mind is like the coaching calls, right? We actually
Yeah.
talk about finding wins, sharing gratitude. So like, how did you, like, when you first were part of those coaching calls, and you made this before, now you're starting to see that like that's something that we actually really push, is like look for positivity. It's really easy. Like in every situation, there's always two sides. You can always see the negative, you can always see the positive. And so kind of what was like, was it epiphany? Like, did you just have confirmation? What was kind of your like your moment? Like, oh, like this is actually like, I'm smart. Like I got this, right?
Yeah, so I think it just came, yeah, I don't know if I had an epiphany, but like it came over time. Like I watch a lot of the videos that you post on YouTube and Facebook, just because it helps kind of like keep me focused, and there's also like little tidbits that I pull here and there. I love the coaching calls because you get it directed towards you, but you also see it directed towards other people, which is awesome. Because maybe, a person on the call will have a question that I didn't even think to ask, and it gets answered. And then I know, I have that hint, I have that tip that I can then use when something like that happens, whatever happened to that person, or whatever that person is challenged with. Yeah, I love that part of this program. Like I've done so many other programs, and there's nothing like that that I've tried before, been a part of before, and I think it's like one of the really the best parts. It was definitely the coaching calls or the mindset calls. When I started the program, I was like, I don't need these. I'm fine, you know. And they've become like my favorite part. So
Yeah.
I
We're
I don't
always
know.
we're
I
always
can't miss
resistant
a
to the
week.
thing that we want the most, right?
Yeah,
We're resistant to the thing we need the most, and all of a sudden we like, once we just are vulnerable, we get like, it's like a sigh of relief. It's like I let myself like let the ego go, let the true self come out. It's like, yes, cleanse.
totally.
Like that's what my body needs.
Yeah.
All right, and um, so some of this, so obviously like there's issues, there's problems. So like, what's an instance or a situation like, yeah, like a problem that you faced that you were able to not only like handle, but you were able to overcome it, where in maybe your previous life or your previous experiences that maybe you weren't able to. So share one of those
Totally.
experiences with us.
Yeah. So now that um now that COVID restrictions are like kind of loosening up, I've been doing a lot of travel, and that has been hard because I don't always feel like I have control over the food that's going to be there.
Mhm.
Because for me, I like cooking. I'm a meal prepper. It's very easy for me to follow a meal plan when I'm at home.
Mhm.
It's very hard to follow me, for me personally, to follow a meal plan when I'm not at home. So that was something that I was really nervous about, and and thankfully Tim gave me some tips on like what to pack, how to order food from a restaurant, like what kind of makes sense for travel food, stuff like that, so that I can kind of like keep my energy up and just keep going. Because normally, like in the past, I go on vacation or I go on a trip or whatever, and it's like, I just eat whatever I feel like,
Mhm.
right? Um, or just eat treats the whole time because you're on vacation, right?
Totally.
And then I come back and I've like gained 10 pounds or something like that, right? Like that wasn't a completely unheard of thing to happen. I came back from these every single trip I've gone on since this program. There's been a couple. I've come back and I've lost weight. And I'm like, I don't know how this is happening. I literally don't know how I did this.
Defies
But
the
it's
law of
happened
physics.
every time,
It's against physics. When you go on a trip, you have to gain weight. Everybody knows that. Like,
right?
just like it
It's
doesn't
gonna
matter if you eat
happen.
perfectly, drink a water. It's like you're gonna gain weight, duh.
Yeah.
Calories don't count on vacation.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome, and it's huge,
Yeah.
right? Like we're joking about it, like these are the type of things that allow you to like, hey, you can go on a trip and you can
Yeah.
stay on plan. And like, did you feel like you suffered while you're on this trip?
No, I mean, no, I never felt like I suffered. I might have gotten tired of chicken on a salad with no dressing, but I wasn't suffering. I wasn't missing out on anything. I was still attending all the events. I was still like participating, even if I had an iced tea instead of a beer. Like it was fine. And I like thoroughly enjoyed myself. And I did some things that I wouldn't normally have done. Like Tim challenged me to get 10,000 steps every day that I was gone, and I did it. So I got to walk around the city that I was in and like experience something in a different way. And that was like really cool that I took the time. I did it early in the morning, so I took the time to go out and explore the city, which I might not have done. I might have just like slept in and then waited for my next event or whatever. So yeah, it was a really good experience.
So it's what I hear. What I'm hearing there is obviously you just made it a priority, and like by saying no to sleeping in, by saying no to going out and having drinks, and saying no to like eating whatever the crazy food is, you're saying yes, right? And so like
Mhm.
ultimately, like, what were you saying yes to? Like this is where I think my understanding like what your why is or what your purpose is, like what were you saying yes to, like if you don't mind sharing, like what is your purpose, why is your like why was that so strong, like what is your why that allows you to actually say no to those things where most people are like I would never do that, like I'm on
Yeah.
vacation, like
Yeah.
so what is that for you, like what drives you to do.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple things. I mean, I definitely have goals that require me to be a more fit person. Like I really do want to, like, my partner will go on a 24-mile hike up, you know, 7,000 feet in a day. And I would love to be able to do that with him. I definitely cannot right now. So I have like those sorts of goals in my mind. And like this is one of the tools that's going to get me to that place, as well as like getting out and hitting trail. Um, and I also realized that like no one's going to remember if I ate a salad with chicken except for me. I'm the only person that's going to remember that. And also, like, I'm not going to just eat salad with chicken and no dressing for the rest of my life. Like, it's just what I'm doing right now so that I can get to the place that I want to be at. And then later, maybe I choose to eat salad and chicken with no dressing, but it's not going to be like, this is what I have to eat all the time. And I'm going to like be grumpy about it, because then that's all I'm going to remember. So again, it's like choosing to be positive,
Mhm.
choosing to think about like where this choice is going to take me, choosing to think like that no one else really cares what I ate for dinner. So I don't remember what they ate.
And what's so powerful, I think that anyone's listening can really hone in on, is like the choice, right? Like it's your
Mhm.
choice. And so actually there's two things, like it's your choice ultimately, is like no, like you said, like what your initial fear was when you go on vacation is that you didn't have a choice. And
Right.
now it is your choice. And I think like
Yep.
that inherently is like, and all that is basically you giving away power to now you controlling the power, and you keeping that personal power. And like that's actually what it's all about, is just you feeling like you have the power to do what you need to do to get what you want, right? And
Totally.
then and the second piece of that is just understanding the phase. And I think this is also really important too, is just like we have different phases in life. Like you're going through a different phase, I'm going through a different phase, your partner's going through a phase, Tim's going through his phase, and we're going through different phases. And I think sometimes we always just think that like the phase we're going through is never going to end. Whether that's good or bad. Like some people think like, oh, like I'm feeling like I'm really good, like it's never gonna end. Like we all cycle in some ways. I think just understanding that we are all in phases, that's like super crucial, right? Because
Mhm.
there is different phases. There's like a weight loss phase, then there's a maintenance phase, then there's like the whole, like, how do I actually like keep this forever kind of phase, right? And
Right.
like, so these are the things that we love to talk about, because like it's how it sticks, right? And so let me ask you kind of a piece of that, because we talk a lot about mindset being like the biggest piece of this whole equation, like how you eat, how you exercise, like those are like the things, but all starts with this up here is like how you think. And
Mhm.
so tell me how you think differently now, or like how do you like what is your brain like, what are your decision making process, how's it different now than it was even just like 12 weeks ago?
Yeah. So um I think one of the main differences is like I go to like I think I face things with a little bit more of a positive tilt on even like, bad things. I'm like, okay, what can I do that's going to make this better? Or what can I do that's going to help this? Or how can I react to this in a way that's going to like be helpful and not hurtful? For lots of different things. And I mean, I said I made that decision to be positive throughout these 12 weeks. Like it's gotten easier.
Yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah,
It's not just
totally.
like, okay, I'm happy now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, like, yeah, fake it till you make it a little bit. And then the faking gets less and less. I think that has been one thing. I think I've a mindset thing that I've noticed for sure is that I'm just like more confident overall. Like in grad school, there's this saying that you go to grad school to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so I have that idea in a lot of different areas in my life. And I feel like I'm getting there even a little bit more with maybe like my health and fitness, being comfortable being uncomfortable, trying to push yourself a little bit harder than you did last week, trying to lift something that's a little bit heavier than you did last time, trying to go for a little bit longer of a walk than you did, 3 weeks before. Just being comfortable kind of in that place where it's like a little bit of uncharted. And I've noticed that I've built more confidence in being uncomfortable, which is good. Like we went on a 10-mile hike the other day and I didn't even like, it was no big deal. Like I didn't have to like pump myself up for it. I was like, we're just doing it. It's good. And I got through the end of it. My endurance, I was still excited. I was still ready to go. I wasn't like dragging, like it was great. And part of that is because I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it because I've been doing hard stuff. I've been doing hard stuff for 12 weeks.
Yeah. And I think what I picked up there is that, growth is actually what gives us confidence to keep going, right? And
Totally.
one
Yeah.
of our core values is like grow or die. Like you're either growing or you're dying, right? And
Yep.
inevitably, that's what comfortability is. It's like every time we get a little comfortable, it's a little bit of growth because by nature, it's like we're doing something we haven't done before, and so that's what
Totally.
growing is. And here's the cool part: is like it doesn't like the actual outcome isn't really as important as just that growth, right? If you can just feel growth every single day, like again, and we're about to talk about your results, but like for me personally, anyway, I can share with you like the actual outcomes have never been the thing that fulfills me. They're never the thing that I'm really like jacked about and excited about. It's always like the person I've come along the way. It's like the obstacles I overcome. It's like it's literally the growth that I'm like, man, like I'm so proud of myself for the growth.
It's the
It's never
journey,
actually
not the
about the thing.
destination.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, which is a great segue because it's still fun to talk about the actual destination and the results as well. So,
Yeah.
kind of tell us, you said that you started at around 265. So let's talk a little about weight transformation, body transformation, maybe some of the clothes sizes, and then after that, even like mindset transformation, like just as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So numbers. I started in January 265. These were the goals that I've hit so far. 252, I hit that a couple of weeks in. And that was where I was at peak hiking season last year. So that was like a big deal for me.
Nice.
Yep. I hit 240, which was a massive deal for me. I had that goal set in my fitness app, my what is it, the Fitbit app, for 3 years.
Nice.
So I hit that goal and I was like, I lost my mind. I was so excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm closing in on a total of 30 pounds lost. So I'm almost at 235. I will probably be at 235 by the end of this week, if not the start of next. So I mean, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. It's always kind of like a little bit of an up and down, but the downs keep on getting further down. So
it's like the stock market or real estate market. It's like this, but it always continues to trend up somehow, right?
Yeah, totally. Let's see, for I'll talk about fitness goals. I think when I started this program, I could not do a burpee. I could not hold, oh my gosh, now I forgot the name of it.
Like a plank, maybe?
A plank, yeah. I could not hold a plank for more than 20 seconds. I couldn't do more than one push-up. And so now I'm doing burpees, like I can do burpees, not modified ones, I can do them on the floor, which is nuts. That's insane to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I started with modified ones, and then slowly I like the last couple of weeks I've been able to do them from the floor. It's like so cool. I can do a plank for over a minute now.
Damn. Awesome.
It's wild. And I can do, my push-ups aren't perfect, but I can do a full set of them, which is like cool. Like for me,
yeah.
I'm like, yes. And I'm working on them. They're gonna get better. I'm gonna get there. Yeah. And I've done like other amazing things like that I would never have thought. When I stepped foot in the gym, I had never like done anything with a barbell, period. Never touched it, intimidated by it, freaked out by it, was like, that's not going to be me sort of a person.
Yeah.
And then like last week, I think I did a 95-pound weighted squat with the barbell. And I was like, what? This is insane. Like, I know how I'm doing this, but like when you think about from start to here, it's like, can't believe I did that.
Yeah. That's the growth we just talked about, right? It's like that's the fun part, is like here to here, right? Like this is just like, this is here, but we're still like, this is what was fun right through here, which is so cool.
Exactly.
And then like how do you think that you've just changed as a person? Like how is this, like how is you losing the weight? How has that like affected your life and just you as a human being?
Right. Yeah. So a change that I've noticed is from the start, I was very weight focused, and I'm not very weight focused anymore. And that for me is a big relief, because even though I wasn't focusing on losing weight, it was always in my mind, like, oh, I'm too heavy. Like I need to do more. I'm not doing enough. I should be better. Like sort of that like kind of cycle that you kind of get into when you want to fix something, but you're not sure how to fix it, or you haven't committed to fixing it or whatever. And I don't feel those thoughts anymore, because I am doing something and I am getting better. And like, I'm enjoying who I am right now in this body, even though I haven't met the destination yet. Like I'm having fun getting there.
So powerful. So powerful.
Yeah. And so that's really helped kind of like my mindset. I mentioned that I started the year off with a fair amount of depression and anxiety, and I've been, this program has helped with that. I've also like done other things with my doctor to kind of help manage that. And I think it's just all kind of like coming together. And I honestly, I feel like a completely different person. I feel more like the Catherine I show versus like, that just being like a veneer, if that makes sense.
That's so good. That's awesome. Yeah, I think you just said it really powerfully. It's just, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I think obviously like, it's not just this one thing, that you've been doing, like you've been like, this has been a culmination, like all the things that you've done in the past, the P90X, the Weight Watchers, like that actually led you to this point. I think so many people get defeated about things that they thought were not successful, but you just learned what didn't work.
Yeah.
And like, but it still give you experience. And so when you're able to see, like something, oh, like this might work. And all of a sudden just give the confidence. So what you did, you just like chose, number one, to have a good attitude. You chose to do it. And like, that's really what this is. I actually like keeping that power to know like, okay, like I have the power to do this. I can do this, and having that belief in yourself. So yeah, so powerful.
I also think doing all of those things taught me a little bit of flexibility too, because, every single one of them is different. And like, like when you're doing Whole30, they put an emphasis on like making, adding sauces to stuff. I add sauces to stuff now, and that like makes it okay to have, chicken and broccoli and rice every day, because I can do a different sauce on it, so it's good.
You get creative with the sauce. It's awesome.
Exactly.
And so let's let's ask one more question here, and I want you to think back to, you 12 weeks ago, or even maybe even a little further back, or maybe we just take somebody who is maybe been where you were in the past, and they haven't started anything. They're not really focusing on their health and fitness, just because they just don't know what to do or they don't feel confident. So, like, what sort of advice would you give either to your yourself back in the day, or just to somebody who has maybe been in a position similar to you before they were actually like taking action and doing something?
Yeah. Um, I think there are a couple of things I would encourage person to be open to the experience and like open to maybe learning something new, even if it's not what you expected
Mhm.
when you first started. And I would tell them that like being perfect at it is not the goal. But for me, that's a big one. I always want to be perfect at the thing.
For sure.
Being perfect isn't the goal. You're going to make mistakes, and that's fine because we always learn from our mistakes.
Mhm.
And also, if you do try to do something and you fail at it, that's fine because fail means first attempt in learning.
Mhm.
And you're just constantly going to get better if you go into it with an open mind and look to learn things that you didn't maybe expect to be focusing on.
Good. So basically what you're saying is that if you do something, you either get the result that you thought you were going to get, or you get a lesson that you can eventually get closer to what the goal is that you set out for.
Totally. Yep. Yeah. Even if the lesson learned was like, I did not like that and I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah.
Like, that's the lesson. And then maybe there's something from that experience that like, and maybe there's just something that you can avoid next time. I don't know.
And so, any any final words of wisdom that you like to share, with like that you need to hear yourself, or that you like to share with everybody out there who is listening?
Um, well, I don't know if I, I don't know if I have any more words of wisdom. I think I'll maybe just reiterate the things that I chose for myself. One, do everything you guys say. Two, be positive about it.
Mhm.
Um, and and I'll finish just by saying thank you, Logan, for inviting me here so I can talk about all this stuff.
Yeah,
Because this is fun.
totally.
um, and just to tell you that like I really appreciate the videos that you put out and the coaching calls because they have been for me extremely helpful. I pick up little tips from those things all the time. Um, so I'm definitely watching them.
I love that. Yeah, and I want to I want to reciprocate because, like, I think it's really cool that you actually do the little things, and little things add up. And it's like there's so much information out there. There's lots of good coaches out there. There's lots of good programs out there, and the fact that you're actually taking action, you're taking ownership, and you're making these choices yourself. That's all kudos to you. And like to be completely transparent, like you're the type of person who's like, once you set your mind on doing something, like you're going to do it regardless if it's like us or whether it's somebody else. Like it is on you. And so I want to make sure that's clear. Like, this is you doing this, and we're just facilitating your journey.
Yep.
But it shows that you do the little things. You listen to the videos, you show up to the coaching calls, you choose the good attitude, and like that's the thing that's going to not be have you just be successful for 12 weeks for right now, but it's going to continue to have you be successful for the rest of your life. This is what this ultimately is about. It's like,
Right.
who cares if you're in shape for 12 weeks? It's like, how do you make that stick for the rest of your life? And that's by you controlling this, which if you're just listening to this, that's my mind. That's your mindset, right? And that's like how you think. That's the most important thing. So yeah, truly just want to thank you for sharing your story, for actually being vulnerable and actually like sharing your story, which again is super powerful. And I know it helped you out, and I know that someone out there is listening, like, man, like that really inspired me, because
Yeah.
that's a great freaking story. So, Catherine, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you, and look forward to like just continue to see your growth, right? Continue to see
Yeah.
your growth, and you're smiling. Your smiling attitude is so good. So appreciate you, and we'll chat with you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.